How excited are you to be back here on the training ground with the players getting ready for a Premier League season?
Well, due to all the activity in the summer, agents and medicals, etc., I couldn't wait for this moment. Just to get back in the training ground with the players, and you know, this is what it's all about: interacting with the lads, getting them ready for the new season, and working with them in the training ground to try and make them better players.
Do you get a break from it in the summer, or is it constant mobile phones? Do you ever get a day on holiday where you say, right, that's it, I'm spending time with the wife and family or whatever, or is it absolutely constant through the summer?
No, it's pretty much constant, but of course you choose your moments when you set aside a couple of hours maybe to do emails and to do phone calls back home, or if somebody needing you, then we had a policy where if there was something urgent, then we would get a hold of each other. So absolutely no problems with that, but that's the nature of football, and my wife, my family know that, and they wouldn't have it any other way.
How important is it for you to have your first full season in the Premier League? Obviously you had half a season, but you kind of inherited other players, other situations, other people's players. How important is it to have your fresh start this time?
Well, I look forward to that. It's a fantastic challenge for me to be in the Premier League and starting the season, and I'd obviously like to build a team that are capable of staying in the Premier League. At the moment we're short. I know we're short, and we have to try and improve that. The board have pulled out the stops to invest in some young talent. We have also invested in foreign talent. So they've helped to quite a degree so far, and but I know that the chairman, David Gold, and David Sullivan, Karen, they know that we're still short. They know we're too weak at the moment to be getting into the Premier League full-blooded without extra players.
How did you get involved with the Ecuadorian players? I mean, where did the interest arise?
Well, to be fair, the Benitez, Espinosa guys have been on the radar for a couple of years. So, an agent put them into me, and people that scout the South American scene, and my chief scout, I think 5 or 6 agents put in Espinosa. Benitez is a guy that's been pushed at me for a long time, and he's a terrific prospect, an absolute tremendous prospect. He's still got to prove himself in England, so there's still an element of gamble in that, but he's certainly got all the ingredients to be a sensation here. Of course, it depends on the player himself.
Contrast that with the younger English players, Roger Johnson, Scott Dan from Coventry and Cardiff respectively. Yeah. What made you assign those two in particular?
Well, I think we have to remember the parameters that we're working under, and we don't want to be spending money that's going to sink the club. And the board have been pretty strong about that over the years, and quite rightly so. We have been a bit of a yo-yo club. It would be nice to think that we can stay in the Premier League. The reasons for going for Roger and Scott, who are unproven in terms of the Premier League, so again it's a fantastic opportunity for these two guys, is quite simply financial parameters. We can't go buying 2 players from the Premier League, maybe £9 million each, 45 grand a week wages. We just can't do it. So we have to try and cut our cloth accordingly, and I believe that I've brought 2 of the best young prospects, centre-half wise in the country, out of the Championship, who I know their mentality, and having spoken to people, done my homework, these are guys who I want to work with and I want by my side, because I know that they want it badly. And if you've got young, hungry players, then I think you've got half a chance.
And then the balance with the likes of Lee Bowie and Stephen Carr now signed permanently?
Yeah, it's great news. These 2 guys did very well for us last year in the Championship, second part of the Championship season. Lee Boyer's been around a bit, as has Stephen Carr. Stephen had a wonderful 6 months with us, considering he'd been out of football for 6 months. So, hats off to him. But it doesn't stop there with Steve. I hope he's as hungry this season and the next season as he was in the Championship, and shows that he's still a top player. He certainly proved that in last season's performances.
You say you and the board are working hard to bring new players to the club. Can we expect some new signings in the near future, before the season actually starts for real?
Well, yeah, I hope so. I hope that I can integrate people fairly quickly. I've got a number of players that are on a list. It's very difficult to sift through the list and say, well, that one's more outstanding than the other. Probably a couple of them from the list would do us, you know. Any of the guys that we've chosen. We have done a lot of work on foreign players as well. As you know, at the end of the season, Roy, Andy, myself, the coaching staff and the scouting staff were all out looking at games across Europe. And we have done some preliminary work on these things, which is why we haven't done anything at the moment in terms of the home names that you've heard, because there's still some work to be done there.
I know you're likely to say no, but I've got to ask sometimes for names. Joey Barton's been linked with the club. Can you comment on that at this stage?
I'm not going to comment on any players. The speculation is rife, but I don't think it's fair to the player. I don't think it's fair to their club that we start talking about players from other clubs. There's a list of players. We'll keep it as quiet as possible, and when we've got something to say, we'll tell the world.
One final question. At this stage, are you optimistic about Birmingham City surviving this season in the Premier League?
Not at this stage, no. We need more players. As simple as that. We're not strong enough right now. We need more players.